Hi everyone, I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng, Chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. Throughout our nation's history, Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders have made immeasurable contributions to our nation, including in sports, arts, government, science, business, military service, and more. But when I reflect on my education growing up, this history was often left untold. For centuries, AANHPI history was minimized or, at worst, excluded from the broader narratives of American history. Our stories treated as temporary museum exhibits, celebrated for a few months at best, and then forgotten again. That's why a national museum located in the heart of our nation's capital is so important to create a permanent space for our history to be memorialized. History, like the story of Wong Kim Ark, the son of Chinese immigrants who battled discriminatory immigration laws to help cement the legal precedent of birthright citizenship. Or Eddie Aikau, a native Hawaiian lifeguard who selflessly paddled into the vast Pacific Ocean to get help for a stranded vessel in 1978. And Kalpana Chawla, who became the first Indian American woman to fly to space in 1997. These are just a few examples of the bravery, sacrifice, courage, and ingenuity that are found throughout our history. I first introduced my bill that would begin the process of creating a National Museum of Asian Pacific American History and Culture in 2015. After nearly a decade of work, my bill unanimously passed both chambers of Congress and became law in 2022. And now the commission is tasked with providing a recommendation to Congress on how to create this national museum. Building this museum is not just about honoring our past, it is about creating a better future. A museum can serve as a powerful tool for our education, empathy, and unity, a place where children can see themselves, not as a footnote or a stereotype, but as an integral part of the American story. There's still a lot of work ahead of us, and I'm so grateful for the work the Commission is undertaking to bring this long-awaited vision to fruition. But it will take all of us to ensure that our stories are told for generations to come. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Crystal Kai, and I serve as the executive director of our congressionally appointed commission. And just a little bit of background about the commission. This bipartisan commission was established by the 117th Congress through Public Law 117-140, and it's charged with delivering a comprehensive plan of action to the president and the Congress that will lay the groundwork for congressional authorization of a national museum in Washington, D.C., dedicated to honoring the achievements, progress, and lasting impact of the Asian Pacific American community. We are pleased to have 6 of our 8 commissioners participating in today's webinar, and I'm going to name them really quickly. We have Commissioner chairs, Dr. Jay Shi, as well as Ms. Chi-Ling Tong. We have our 2 vice chairs, Ms. Joanne Kwong and Ms. Tina Wei-Smith. And we also have the Honorable Rodney Davis and Mr. Dennis Chang. And we do want to acknowledge our remaining 2 commissioners, the Honorable Michelle Steele, as well as Mr. Kevin Kim, who unfortunately could not join us today, but send their regards to our group here. And throughout the webinar, please feel free to drop any questions for our commissioners in the chat, and we will try to get to as many of those questions as time allows. We also want to thank those of you who pre-submitted questions to us to answer, which we will be answering as part of our panel session later in this webinar. For more information about the commission, including how to follow our work and get involved, please visit our website at nationalapamuseum.org, and we'll be dropping that in the chat. And we also have our commission inbox, which we will also be dropping in the chat. It's commission@nationalapamuseum.org. The other thing I just really wanted to quickly acknowledge is the work of our commission is only made possible through the generous support of the Asian American Arts Alliance based in New York, who currently serves as our fiscal sponsor. They are a 501(c)(3). And also, much of the work that we are doing right now is being supported through generous seed funding that we received from the Ford Foundation. So I just wanted to acknowledge both of those entities. Next, we will be hearing from our two commission chairs, Dr. Jay Shi and Ms. Chiling Tong. And we will start with Dr. Shi, who I think many of you know from his prior role as the director of the Asian Art Museum in San Francisco, a position that he held from 2008 until his recent retirement earlier this year. So Jay, thank you so much for all of your tireless leadership. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Crystal. Hello, everyone. As chair of this commission, alongside Chair Chiling Tong, I want to thank you for joining us today. Our commission carries a deep sense of purpose. Our task is not only to study the potential creation of a national museum, but to ensure that Asian Pacific American stories, which have long been overlooked, are recognized as an integral part of the American story. From early immigrants who built our nation's railroads to artists, entrepreneurs, public servants, and pioneers in every field, our communities have long shaped the fabric of this great nation. Yet, our contributions remain underrepresented in the institutions that tell our national story. So this commission represents a rare opportunity to correct that and to explore how we might build a museum that reflects the complexity, resilience, and richness of the Asian Pacific American experience. In the months ahead, we will engage communities across the country, consult museum experts and cultural influencers, institutions, and also shape a thoughtful, community-informed roadmap for what a national museum could become. But we cannot do this work alone, obviously. So we look forward to working with you all in the months ahead as we seek community input and develop our final report to the Congress and the President. I would like now to introduce my fellow chair of the commission, Ms. Chiling Tong, who is an incredible leader with an impressive career spanning our private, not-for-profit, as well as public sectors. Chiling, I will now turn it to you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much for your incredible leadership. And thank you to everyone joining us virtually today as we embark on this historical journey. I'm especially grateful to my fellow commissioners. They bring unique expertise and perspective to this commission, as well as to our bipartisan leaders in government and the tremendous outpouring of support from the APA community nationwide. And many of you are here with us today. The work of our bipartisan commission represents a powerful opportunity to ensure that our stories are preserved, celebrated, and shared with future generations. What we are undertaking is more than a study. It is about accomplishments, culture, our pride, and history. And most importantly, it is about American story. That's why we are committed to engaging in meaningful dialogue with the community leaders, experts, and academia and cultural institutions, many of whom are represented here today, to help lay the foundation for a comprehensive plan and a compelling report. This report will be delivered to the President and the Congress, guiding the vision of this museum into reality. Let us imagine a future where an APA museum stands proudly alongside the institutions that honor African American, Latino American, women's, and American histories. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we cannot do it alone. We need you. To move the needle forward, we need the full support and engagement of our entire community, especially the leaders gather here today. I'm deeply honored to do this work alongside each of you. So let us build this museum together with purpose and with our communities at the heart of every step. Thank you, thank you. And now I will turn it back to our Executive Director, Crystal.
Thank you so much, Qiling and Jay, for your inspiring remarks and for your tremendous leadership of our commission. Next, we will have a brief presentation to provide more background about the commission and its work. And so I'll now turn it over to our commission vice chairs, Ms. Joanne Kwong and Ms. Tina Way-Smith, to provide additional background on our commission. So I'm going to start off with Joanne. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Crystal, and thank you so much, Jay and Qiling, for your leadership and for kicking us off. It has been my honor to serve on this commission. My name is Joanne Kwong. I'm the president and second generation owner of Pearl River Mart, the historic Asian American emporium in New York City since 1971. Our presentation today will kick off with a little bit of background about the history of the commission and the process so far and how we got here. First slide. On June 13th, 2022, President Biden signed a bill authored by Congresswoman Grace Meng to create a bipartisan, congressionally appointed commission to evaluate the feasibility, structure, and funding strategy for establishing a national museum dedicated to preserving and showcasing the history, art, and cultural contributions of Asian Pacific Americans in the United States. Next slide. Our bipartisan commission was appointed by congressional leadership, including the Speaker and Minority Leader of the U.S. House of Representatives and the Majority and Minority Leaders of the U.S. Senate. We held our inaugural meeting in the U.S. Capitol in April 2025 and publicly launched on June 12th, when we were sworn in by Secretary Elaine Chao and House Democratic Caucus Vice Chair Ted Lieu at the Library of Congress. Next slide. Our swearing-in ceremony included strong bipartisan congressional support, including remarks from House Speaker Mike Johnson and House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries, as well as bipartisan participation from former cabinet members and senior government officials spanning several presidential administrations. Next slide. The Commission's core mission is to explore the feasibility of creating a national museum and to deliver a comprehensive plan of action that will lay the groundwork for congressional authorization of a national museum dedicated to preserving and honoring the achievements, progress, and lasting impact of Asian Pacific Americans in the United States. I now turn the floor over to my fellow Vice Chair, Tina Way-Smith, who will now present the remainder of the slides and tell us where we're going.
Thank you so much, Joanne. It's so good to be with you all today. My name is Tina Way-Smith. I am the former Executive Director of the White House Initiative on Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and just so honored to be on the Commission. And so our work ahead, to continue with our slides, the Commission has been given a short timeline of 18 months to conduct our planning, our study, as well as host stakeholder convenings and listening sessions and deliver a final report to Congress and the President. So because our commission first convened April of 2025, the clock has already started ticking, and we have approximately 15 months at this point until the end of December 2026 to submit our final report. Pursuant to Public Law 117-140, the Commission is responsible for evaluating the potential structure, location, governance, and funding strategy for a national museum dedicated to preserving and showcasing the history, art, and cultural contributions of Asian Pacific Americans in the United States. So I'm not going to read every item on this list, every bullet, but the Commission is tasked with addressing the following items in our report, including the potential impact of a national museum on existing regional museums and institutions, which many of you on this call are from. Maybe give everyone just a second to kind of review. It's also on our website, and I know someone has dropped the link to our website, so you can see all of these laid out as well. We can move on to the next slide. And so how can you get involved? The commission is currently focused on 3 major bucket areas, which include fundraising for our commission to sustain our operations over the next 15 months. And we are still very much so actively fundraising to ensure that we can actually do the work that we've been tasked to do, and as well as gathering stakeholder input to inform our report through national and regional convenings, as well as conversations like this, drafting and finalizing our report to Congress by the end of October 2023. We have included various ways that you can help to get involved, including connecting us with donors or providing the commission with in-kind support and expertise, hosting a listening session at your physical site or online, or providing subject matter expertise to inform our final report. Next slide, please. So thank you everyone again for joining us today. We are encouraged that you are, with so many folks in the community wanting to be informed and supportive in our work, but also would like to encourage you with our website and email addresses here, sign up for updates through our website. You can also email our commission inbox if you're interested in getting involved. And I will now turn the program back to Crystal.
Thanks so much, Tina and Joanne, for that presentation. Next, we're going to move to Q&A with our commissioners. So for our commissioners on, if you can turn on your cameras or if you'd like to be on screen, we have some questions that were pre-submitted from many of you. So thank you for those that have submitted questions. And for those who did not get a chance to do so, please feel free to submit questions live. We will try to get to as many as we can if time allows. So the first question that I have is, and it's one that we get often, is what is the timeline to actually open this museum, and where are we in that timeline relative to other similar situated museums? So does anybody want to take that question?
Crystal, I'm happy to take that one. Hello, everyone. I'm Dennis Chang. I'm based in New York City, and thank you again for joining us today. In terms of the timeline, the process to become a formal national museum with the support of the federal government requires a number of different steps that can take a number of years. The very, very first step is the stage that we're in, which is after establishing the commission will do our work for 18 months, draft the report, deliver the final report and planning study to Congress and to the president. And then hopefully the next step then is for Congress to vote on the authorization of an official museum. And that vote, when it passes, will then allow for the creation and establishment of the official organization that will build the eventual Asian Pacific American Museum. So the process can take a while, but it's extremely important for this first step, which is a required necessary step to happen first. In terms of the overall potential timeline, it's helpful to look at the timelines experienced by other similar museums. As you can see from the slide on the screen, the National Museum of African American History and Culture took about 16 years from when the commission was established to when the museum itself was actually then built and opened. The National Museum of the American Latino, as well as the American Women's History Museum, are still in process of identifying a site. They haven't started construction yet, but their commissions were established, the reports were delivered, and the museum authorization was passed by Congress. So there isn't an exact kind of estimate or science to it, but I think the timelines of the other museums will give you a sense of the likely number of years that this may take.
Thanks, Dennis. That's really helpful. Another question that we get often is, especially by those who are not familiar with this kind of congressional commission process, is is this commission a part of the Smithsonian? And if so, or if not, rather, how are you different from the Smithsonian Asian Pacific American Center that already exists? Anyone willing to take that question?
Maybe I'll take it, Crystal.
Go ahead.
Thank you for this very foundational question. And of course, we're all thinking of Washington, D.C. But the word I like to use is independent. That our commission established by the Congress is an independent entity. Therefore, it is not affiliated with Smithsonian Institution or the Smithsonian Asian Pacific American Center. That said, they are very important partners in our journey. And in accordance with Public Law 117-140, which established the commission is required to consult with the Smithsonian Institution as it develops criteria for evaluating potential locations, for example, for the museum, and assesses the feasibility of the museum becoming part of the Smithsonian in the future. The law does not require the museum have to be part of the Smithsonian, but of course, whether it's feasible to be part of the Smithsonian is very much on our mind. So the work, one of the key aspects. Another will be location, right? So as such, we have already held several meetings with Smithsonian officials, such as Deputy Secretary Mayroll Park, Undersecretary Kevin Gover, and the Smithsonian Asian Pacific American Center board and staff. We also have started a little bit of a site visiting in terms of potential site that we need to look into as part of the due process. So let me leave it here.
Great. Thank you so much, Jay, for answering that. And again, a reminder to all of our participants, if you have any questions for us, please feel free to drop that in the chat. We're happy to take any live questions as well. The next question I'm going to actually direct to the Honorable Rodney Davis, who is actually one of two former members of Congress that we are so lucky to have on our commission. Both Congressman Davis, along with Congresswoman Michelle Steele, have brought just tremendous expertise from their time in Congress, but also relationships that have been so critical. So, Congressman, I wanted to get a gut check from you about what are you hearing from some of your former colleagues on the Hill about, what they think about this effort and whether they're supportive of it.
Well, thank you, Crystal, and thank you to all of our fellow commissioners. I'm glad you mentioned my former colleague, former Congresswoman Michelle Steele being a part of this, but we actually have a third, because when I was appointed to the commission by former Speaker McCarthy, a gentleman who was an assembly member in California, who is now a member of Congress, Vince Fong, was our fellow commissioner. So we have commissioners in Congress right now, and not just Vince, but so many of our other colleagues, Republicans like me and Democrats that I served with, they've opened the doors to hear about what this commission's doing. They're excited about our efforts, excited to see what the next steps are, and really excited to see many of you help us build a report that's going to get us from feasibility to construction much more quickly than some of the others that were just mentioned.
Great. Thank you so much, Congressman, for that. And I think we had shown some of the times these days is doesn't happen as often as we would like, but I think that has been so encouraging to know that there is strong support from both sides. Next, I want to this is a question we get often, especially from those that are looking to get more involved, but especially given the group of folks we have on this call, our regional museums, cultural institutions, and scholars, how can they get involved in these efforts? Do we have anybody who'd be willing to take that question?
I'm happy to take that.
Great, go ahead, Joanne.
I know this is the million-dollar question. Everyone's clamoring to know, how can you help and become involved? It's such an honor for all of you all to be on this call, because we know that you are leading museums and cultural organizations, and creating knowledge that celebrates the Asian Pacific American community. And we will need everyone really to stand up this museum. So folks who have subject matter expertise, who can help us to think through questions about what should be in the museum, what are pitfalls that we should be thinking about. We would love that type of support. In the beginning, as you know, we need help with fundraising. So if you have folks in your orbit, on your boards, who might be willing to donate to this endeavor, again, it will need the entire community. And this is a national museum. Also, we need help just spreading the word. So if you can help, in your, again, networks and orbits, to really get the word out that the commission has stood up and is really trying to get our work done in 15 minutes. We would appreciate that so much. Again, the questions are on the website. We also have an Instagram, or you can always email Crystal. And just please contact us and be involved if you'd like to help.
Great. Thanks so much, Joanne. And I do want to stress how important it is that we are just kicking off our process, but we have a short timeline. And so this will require, all hands on deck. And we want to thank you all in advance for your early engagement. And hopefully we can continue to count on your support as our work progresses. I want to take a question we have from the audience. We have, and give me one second, from Joel Buno, who's asking, as we are approaching a time of austerity measures with cuts in the arts and in diversity measures, does this commission have plans to address this before the scheduled vote at the end of 2026? And I'm not sure what you mean by the vote, Joel, or if you mean by by the time we have to conclude our work. But does anybody from our commission want to take that answer? Tina, I see your hand up. Why don't you go ahead?
Hey, Crystal. Joel, I'm sure there's not too many Joel Bunos out there. So I'm assuming it is Joel from the Crane House, the Art Center in Louisville. So thankful that you have also joined in on this call, and really excited to, get started on this work with you and your team there as well. So I think there is an assumption. I'm reading the question. I'm understanding that perhaps there's an assumption that at the end of the report, automatically there becomes a legislation for a museum. So once the report is submitted, the next step comes where we actually we will have to build a groundswell of support and be able to strategize for a piece of legislation that will authorize a future museum. And so that doesn't come automatically. That will be when we really need the community to come together. We will need to advocate to our legislators and present. And within the report, there is an area where we need to address what is our legislative plan. And so that will give us a roadmap. It will give us hopefully potentially, a template for a piece of legislation. But in order to actually have a vote in Congress requires a legislation to be presented, and that we would have co-sponsorships. We will have members in Congress helping us drive this measure forward. So it doesn't come automatically. And so if you see on the timeline, even though maybe a report gets dropped 1 year, doesn't mean in the same year potentially that you'll also have a piece of legislation. But hopefully, as we're talking with folks across the country, that's where we really need the support across the country of a groundswell, support of individuals across the country. And so we understand, and I hope, former Congressman Rodney Davis and his words as well, we have seen quite a bit of bipartisan support. Just even with our swearing in, we had a very bipartisan support of not just members that were there, but we also had former appointees across various, presidents, administrations, going as far back. I want to say, I know we're all starting to age, but I want to say even as far back as Reagan era appointees. So we had appointees, representations, and we even have a few folks coming from the current administration as well. So, again, I really just want to emphasize other commissioners who have shared, we really do need the support of the community behind us as we try to garner that support across mainstream America.
Thank you, Tina, for answering that. Again, if there are any other questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. One thing I did want to mention and just reiterate, and I know this has been mentioned quite a bit, is just unfortunately we do not have the same level of resources that some of the prior commissions received for the African American and Latino. So we are very much looking for any opportunity to partner with individuals and institutions. And in particular, if any of you, especially those that run museums, if you are interested in hosting our commissioners, either for a site visit or for a listening session, that is something that we are very much interested in doing. We will be doing both virtual events, but are also hoping to do at least a handful of in-person engagements where we can hear directly from our communities, from our subject matter experts, and from all of you in really more curated sessions where we can get to the nitty-gritty content of the report that we are required to write. And I know when Tina and Joanne gave the presentation, you saw that whole list of questions, but the commissioners are required to respond to that, but also to do it in consultation with existing regional museums, cultural institutions, and experts in the field. So your input is going to be very valuable to us moving forward. I have just a general question for our commissioners before we conclude. I know we're getting a little past the 30-minute mark, but what is the best way for all of the individuals who are tuning in today to stay engaged with the commission? Does anybody want to take that?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that. Like Joanne said, we absolutely need your help, your ideas, your feedback, your insights, your advice. So one, please sign up on the website and encourage your members, your constituents, your audiences to do the same. Additionally, we have social media channels set up on various platforms, so please follow us there. And again, we need all ideas and any input that you have. So please reach out to us directly, to Crystal, to any of the commissioners, and we'd love to have your help and support.
Great. Thanks so much to all of our commissioners. Rodney, go ahead. I see that. Congressman Davis, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to make sure I added to what Dennis said. We need your help with education and advocacy. We need you to help educate all of those throughout the museum community as to what is possible with this commission and what is possible with this museum. And we also need you, no matter where you live, to be an advocate and educate also your elected officials in Congress, both in the House and the Senate, and any influence that you would have within the community that you think would be interested in helping us raise the dollars that are going to be necessary to move on to the next step.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Congressman. It looks like we did get one other question about, give me 1 second, from Michael Lee about that there is a Friends of the Museum. What's the relationship to our project? And just looking for clarity on the relationship. Does someone want to take that question?
Chillian,
Sure,
do you want to take it? Should I? Tina, go ahead.
That's fine. And yeah, Chilling, if you wanted to jump in there, Jay, too, as well. Friends of is for those who are familiar with them, they are a nonprofit organization advocating for a national Asian Pacific American museum. And they also were formed, I want to say, shortly after the bill was signed. And I know that they've been doing a lot of grassroots movement. I know they've formed a task force with similar membership as this organization. Maybe some of you all might be involved with them as well. But we are formed as a congressional commission tasked with providing the report, what will become sort of this blueprint for a national museum. And they are sort of working alongside of, being supportive of the work that we are doing. And in terms of, the working relationship, that's something, since we've just been, newly formed, we're also working and talking with them on ways that they can be supportive in our efforts. So you might see that they are doing similar work or doing work kind of in tandem in what we're doing. But we have a friendly working relationship. And what they're doing right at the end of the day, especially for the next 15 months, is supportive of the work that we are doing. And they might provide us feedback as well, just like each of you are providing your feedback and your input, because we want to hear from everyone from the community. And so, as like you, they are a nonprofit organization that is passionate about a future museum. So I think that's probably the easiest way to respond to that question. I'm sure Chilling and Jay might have some other words to share as well.
Tina, excellent. I just want to add a few more words. Again, the one word I use is independent. And we are the congressionally mandated organization to do the report. But in order to build the first chapter of a journey to build a national museum, we need a village. So we need many, many supporters, participants. It's great to see so many people are enthusiastic, passionate about this eventual museum to honor APA history and culture and build a common future for our nation together. So Friends is one of such partners and organizations. All of you, the organization you are affiliated with or you are leading, are equal partners in this journey. So we're welcome to participate with all partners. And so in this regard, it's great to see friends are there. It's great to see you are all there today.
Great. Thank you so much, Jay and Tina. With that, I think that we have run out of questions. So thank you to everybody for joining us today. I do want to toss it back to our two chairs if they have any closing remarks before we adjourn. But if not, I'm just so grateful to all of our commissioners. They are extremely busy people, so I'm glad that we were able to get a majority of the commission here for today's webinar. But okay, well, Jay, Chiling, any closing remarks? If not, we can go ahead and close out.
This time I'll let Chilling go first.
Yes, again, we cannot thank you enough for taking your busy schedule to join us. And also, someone raising a very important question. We deeply aware of the broader context in which we're doing, our work, especially in the growing concern around the potential cuts to the arts and diversity-related initiative. These challenges make our mission all the more urgent. We really need you to help us to go through all the process. And we need to actively engage with stakeholders across sectors, public, private, and community-based to build stronger partnership and sustainable support for this museum. This is not only your museum, my museum, this is the museum for the next generation. So we definitely need your support, and thank you, and we'll keep you informed.
Yeah, I would kudos to that. So good, excellent. I just want to also echo thanks to all our participants for your time, interest, passion for common cause. I want to emphasize, pay attention to our websites and give us ideas and advise us how we can support us financially. And lastly, I want to mention the APA National Museum is not only for APA community, it's for the entire nation, because the APA story is American story. Thank you so much.
Thank you. With that, we will be concluding our webinar. Thank you again for joining, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.